Hello everybody and welcome. Welcome to this very special event for me and for the whole team here at How to Be a Great GM. We are launching the Mage Hunter Kickstarter this evening, and I'm so delighted that you could come and join me. Really super excited. Thank you for coming to join me as we launch this. Now, why are we doing such a big launch for Mage Hunter? Why are we doing a special video for Mage Hunter? Well, to be perfectly frank with you, we like it. We really like it, and we want to share it. We want to kind of talk about it and say, hey, folks, this is a game that you can play with anyone, regardless of their level of skill. It's such a simple game. And yeah, that's pretty much what it is. So I don't know what else to say. If you've got questions, put the word question in caps in front of your questions, and I'll try and answer them to the very best of my ability. So I'm going to start by looking at, let's see, I've got some various bits and pieces here to share with you. Something that you might not know, and this is very exciting for me, because I do, and I'm just seeing if I've got any nearby, I do like minis, and I cannot lie. Now, this mini here, which I have painted up, there's going to be a little video on coming up soon in the next couple of weeks, basically. I like minis. This one's not exactly a mini, but I still like minis. Now, there's a company that has partnered with us, and they're going to be adding minis to the Kickstarter. I know, it's crazy, right? And you go, but this is a book. Why do I need minis? Well, these minis, when you see them, I think you're going to agree you need them too. So this is it. Mammoth Factory, mammothfactorygames.com. They manufacture the most amazing minis that I have seen in a very long time. And that mini there that you are seeing, this mini is from Mage Hunter. They custom designed this mini just for Mage Hunter. Now, in Mage Hunter, there are these individuals known as blood mages. And this character, Joran, is a blood mage surgeon. And their whole shtick is they will take bits of other species and attach them to themselves. They'll add them to themselves. So Joran here has got the hand of a troll, which gives him regeneration. He has the legs of a goatl, and these are a goati, I should say. Goati are kind of like satyrs, but not as pan-fluty, much more dangerous and troublesome, I guess you could say. And so Johan has got them because he wanted the speed. They travel, they run very fast, and they've got lots of stamina. So these minis, they're going to be 4 of them in the total. 4 of them in total represent the 4 different types of blood mage in the game. And you'll be able to get them as STL files. So if you have a 3D printer, you can grab the files, you can grab all 4 of them as an add-on to the Kickstarter, and then print them out and use them in your games. I'm not going to show you the rest of the STLs. Those are going to be revealed over the next 3 weeks as the Kickstarter continues. But this is just one of the blood mages, the blood surgeon, as we call them. And I'm super excited. Mammoth Factory bringing their A game in terms of making minis. Just absolutely stunning. Really appreciate the work that they've done, as well as creating these really cool minis. Now, the other thing is, if you don't have a 3D printer, but you still want the minis, they've created an option for you whereby you can order these as physically printed minis, which will be delivered to your door, separate from the Kickstarter, so you can still get them. I think that's pretty cool. So even if you don't have a printer, you don't have someone who has a printer, you can just grab them. Okay, so Mage Hunter, it's diceless. No dice are involved. Where's the tension come from? Where is the panic? Where is the pressure come from? Well, the players have a thing called the action pool reserve, action pool point. I'm getting my words confused. An action point pool. That's where I was going wrong. It's an action point pool. And at first level, at starting level, they have 30 action points. If you have an action point and you have the skill and you spend an action point to use the skill, you succeed. There's no chance of failure. Okay? There is none of this dice rolling and you go, I've done this amazing speech and now suddenly I'm releasing this whole thing and I roll and I get a 1. Okay? None of that. You have an amazing speech, you spend the action points, you spend the skill, you're done. That's it. You succeed. All right? The problem is, if you don't have the skill or you don't have the action point, that's it. You fail. No questions asked. There's no way to get around it. So the challenge, the tension starts to come in when the players start to realize they can succeed at whatever they want to do. But the more times they succeed, the more likely they are to run out of successes before the end of the day. You only get your action points back at the end of a long rest, at the end of 8 hours worth of rest and relaxation. And your action points also count as your health. So the more you do, the more fatigued you get, the more tired you get, until eventually you get down to 0 action points. You can't succeed at anything. And if you take any damage or if you have to spend action points for whatever reason, you are unconscious. So that's where a lot of the tension comes from in terms of the game. What it does, though, is it makes the game super fast. It moves really, 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 really quickly. And it makes it a lot of fun. It really does. Now, I've got some amazing artwork to show you. I'm going to show you some artwork, and then we're going to do our first giveaway, because we've got quite a lot of folks watching, more folks than I expected, actually. So here is the artwork. And before we go there, we've got a question from Arok. And the question is, do unused action points roll over to the next day? No, they don't. They don't. So you can't kind of accumulate action points in perpetuity, kind of just building up this giant ball. You cannot do that. You have to use them or they get lost and reset the next day. Now, as your character gains reputation, as you travel around the world, either hunting blood mages, you don't have to, it's not required of the game. You can just go out and have a great fantasy experience, right? Doing missions and having adventures and that sort of thing. As you gain reputation, so you also gain more action points, you gain more abilities, you gain more discipline abilities as well, which is really exciting because the disciplines are, for lack of a better word, a class. So there are lots of different disciplines. There are magic using disciplines, there are melee combat using disciplines, there are range disciplines. And what happens is, as you are advancing, when you get to the 5th reputation level, so once your reputation is kind of known throughout the region that you're in, you can select another discipline. So effectively you are multi-classing, and the way that they combine together creates whole new stuff that didn't exist before. So you are really creating a unique character as you're playing the game and as you're kind of building the game. Yeah. So here we go. Let's show you the artwork. So if you haven't seen the artwork, there is the cover for Mage Hunter. We've got 3 mages, or we've got 1 mage in the middle. And then behind the mage, kind of masked up and wearing that tricorn hat and that sort of thing, that is a Ranjan. That's a ranger, a range class character, not a ranger, a range class character. They use flintlock pistols and rifles, or crossbows, or longbows, whatever it is. They attack from range. They really don't like getting close up and personal in combat. And then standing to the right of the mage, you can see they're wearing full plate armor, is someone we would call a swordari, who is someone who focuses on swords and shields and just getting into melee combat and just having a whale of a time. Now, as you can see, we've got some page layout there. The artwork, as you have come to expect from the Great GM channel. All of our books feature artwork that I've created or we have commissioned from other people. Again, that's one of the reasons why we want to launch the Kickstarter, is to raise money, to get other artists involved in this project. And the layout is just gorgeous. We've tried to keep it simple, but at the same time, highly searchable, highly usable. So it's not just a book full of rules and things. You know where to go. There's color coding for the lore. There's color coding for character creation. There's color coding for the rules, for spells and that sort of thing. So we've got Martin, who did our layout for all of our previous books, he's on board. He is doing Mage Hunter. And if you're familiar with Bounty Hunter, you'll notice some similarities. But this, I think, is going to be one of the most beautiful books that we have ever produced. So it's a really, really pretty book as well. And so there's some sample pages and things, and you get a sense of the lore. Now, the world of Mage Hunter is fairly generic. It's not overly complex. There's not hundreds and hundreds of pages of histories and that sort of thing. It's designed, like most things on my channel, to be familiar, but to give you plenty of room to play in, to give your players plenty of room to go exploring, and just to have fun. Now, we've got some stretch goals, which obviously are going to be helping add in more content. The more content you add, the more it costs. Just in terms of, we like to have, and I just want to make sure I'm getting these numbers right, we like to have at least one piece of artwork for every 3 pages. So you might have one spread that's just text, and then the next page is going to be artwork. So that's a lot of artwork. So if we add in 3 pages, we're adding in a piece of artwork. We're adding in more layout. So the graphic designer who's designing the book has to figure out more pages and that kind of stuff. So again, that's one of the reasons why we do Kickstarters, is to help augment and supplement. And those stretch goals, you will see over time, and here's a little bit of a hint, is we're going to be getting more, basically. More stuff, more lore, more NPCs, more magic, more this, more that, more the next thing. Just so much, so much, so much more. Right, I promised you a giveaway, so let's do a giveaway. Now, the option is that you get to choose your reward. I did a poll on YouTube the other day and said, well, what would you like? Would you like this book, that book, the next book? And you all said, we want it all, everything. So we're going to do everything. Okay, well, not everything, but everything is on the table in terms of grabbing a PDF from us. And if you've already got one of the books, well, we decided, you know what? You can choose any book that you like if you happen to be one of the lucky winners that comes through. Now, as you can see the instructions there, after tonight's show, you have to email me, guy@greatgamemaster.com. It's really simple. Just ask your question. Who's that guy who's that guy at Great Game Master? Oh, that's the email. You have to email me and say I'm one of the winners, and we'll take it from there. You can then tell me what PDF you want, and I will send you the PDF. So the choices you have is the Creator's Guide to Epic Locations, which the PDF is out. The physical book is nearly finished in being printed in Poland. We're super excited for that. In the next few days, it should actually start shipping out to the warehouses for distribution. So Epic Guide, Epic Locations, Complete Guide to Nautical Campaigns, our very first book that we did back in 2019. One of our first books, I should say, 2019. Complete Guide to Becoming a Great GM, very popular. And of course, then Epic Campaigns, if you want to run an Epic campaign. And then Bounty Hunter itself, the actual origin of the yes-no diceless role-playing system. And all of these books, except for Nautical Campaigns, all of these books will work beautifully with Mage Hunter, or will work with any other role-playing system for that matter, because Epic Locations, Epic Campaigns, and Great GM are all system agnostic, and they are there for you to choose. Now, the question I was going to ask, or the idea on how to choose our winner, okay, is very, very simple. But before we do that, I am just going to very quickly answer a question. And the question is, Hunter says, can I play as a goblin? Well, now, this is where I think Mage Hunter really, really shines. So instead of just having goblin stat block, and you go, right, these are the goblins, that's it. What we've done in Mage Hunter is monsters, NPCs, player characters, they've all been broken down into a series of blocks. And each block has got a series of choices. So if you want to play a human, you simply choose one of the species abilities that comes from being human. If you want to play a goblin, you just choose one of the goblin abilities that come from being goblin. So although the book has I think it's 5 or 6 basic race or species types for you to choose from. They've got humans, they've got elves, they've got dwarves, they've got gnomes, they've got orcs, and we've got the the Goati. And all of the monsters that are listed in the book as well also become playable races. So if you say, well, how many playable races are on Mage Hunter? You go, at the moment, I think it's 11, but it could be more. And if you want to play as a dragon, well, the rules are there for you to play as a dragon. It's entirely up to you how you want to work it. The whole point about Mage Hunter was to build a role-playing game that says, hey, you want to play a role-playing game where you get to be and do what you want to, but within a framework that allows it to be fair and equitable for everybody, and so that the GM can actually run this game. And that's what Mage Hunter does. Now, we've been play testing it for a very long time, and some of the play testers are already in the chat, which is phenomenal. The play testing has been super, super powerful. We started on version 3. We're now on version 8, I believe. Each version growing, gaining, being more balanced, looking at all the nuances and things like that. So just really being refined to this solid role-playing system, in my opinion. All right, so the first giveaway, this is a really simple one, okay? I would like you, in chat, to guess the number of pages that Mage Hunter is going to be. How thick a book do you think Mage Hunter is going to be? Person who gets the closest will be the person that I give the PDF away to. I will give you a hint. Your range is somewhere between 40 pages, which is Bounty Hunter, and 250 pages. Because if it's heavier than 250 pages, if it's thicker than 250 pages, the shipping becomes ridiculous. So we've kind of got that range. So go ahead and just throw in the number that you think is closest to how thick Mage Hunter will be. And it's going to be interesting to see your answers. I see some of you erring on the side of caution, kind of going, okay, we're going to go low. Some in the middle. Most of you seem to want this to be a pretty big book, going, oh, 250, 200, 200, etc., etc. These are some very solid guesses, by the way. Really like that. I will let you know who is closest. And to be honest with you, I actually have to bring up a calculator, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. Okay. Right. So. Okay. So just get those numbers into me as quick as you can. And I'm going to say time is running out. So our target number for Mage Hunter, and to say how many pages it should or shouldn't be. And I just want to, once again, just double check my math here, because it's important to make sure that we get this right. Yep. Our target number is 240 pages. 240 pages. So I know Laura Bones is in chat. Just, if you wouldn't mind, Laura, double checking with me, 240 pages. I will take the nearest best, which I think is Troke, or however you would pronounce Trouque. I think Troke is there. And so I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm going to let Laura Bones weigh in on this, because Laura Bones is our amazing moderator on these live streams. And I think it's going to be Troke who gets it. Now, the reason why it has to be a specific set of numbers is that when you are printing a book, you have to print in batches of 4. So you have to have 4 pages. So you can't have 250. You can have 244, you can have 248, or you could have 252, but you can't have 250. Or at least you just can't. You'd have white pages stacked inside to make up the different numbers. This is part of designing a book. People don't realize it, is that you kind of have to keep your numbers accurate. And the layout designer comes back to you, or the graphic designer, Martin, says, well, actually, you know what? We need to cut some pages, or we need to add some pages. So it's a bit tricky. Now, of course, with a Kickstarter, we've got all these extra stretch goals. So if we make those stretch goals, well, fantastic, but our page count goes up as well, and we've got to keep to those numbers. So it's going to be challenging, but that's one of the joys of creating these books together, is that we can go from what the current page count is, which I think is about 125, 150, somewhere around there. We've got the latitude, we've got the space to be able to go up. Right, so this is super cool. Do fold out pages count. Not in terms of the book count. Not in terms of the book count. Laura Bowes has given a stamp of approval. So, Torque, you are up. You are our first winner. Please remember to send me, and if you don't, this is on you. Please send me an email. And in that email, please tell me which book you would like as a PDF, and I will send it straight through to you. Okay, so there we go. Now we're launching the book on the half hour, as is tradition, and so we've got a few minutes left. I'm just going to write a little note here as to one of our winners. So when I get an email saying, "Hey, I won stuff," I'm going to be like, "For what? What did you win for? Who are you? What's going on?" Okay. Signbee says, so that's why you sometimes have notes pages at the end of some books. Absolutely. That is why you have these extra pages, because they have to be done in that way, depending on the production process you're going with. But those are just some of the cool things that go in there. Right. Are there any other questions before I move forward? No? Okay, great. Moving forward, I want to talk about the magic system. Because the magic system, if you ask the playtesters, if you ask all my friends, I have been working on as a solid concept, I would say, since Bounty Hunter was released. Bounty Hunter was only science fiction because that's what you guys voted for. You voted for sci-fi. So I had this thought in my head when I was releasing Bounty Hunter. Then last year, April, I was working on Mage Hunter, and I was going, okay, I think this is how it should work, because I want the magic to work specifically so that you as the mage can create anything. I hate these books that have got, these are the 52 spells that you can use, and that's it. And you're like, okay, but what if I want to do more? What if I want to do something differently? What if I want to twist it up? Nope, you can't do it. Or, oh yes, but then you have to sacrifice some other abilities just so that you can change fire magic into ice magic, or lightning magic into acid magic. And you're like, really? You're going to penalize me for wanting to be creative rather than celebrate the fact that I'm being creative? So that is exactly what we did. And I've spoken to you guys about this stuff before. I've been on live streams. I've been in polls and things going, well, what can we do? What can we do? How can we do this? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I was having lunch. I was having lunch with a friend of mine and presenting this issue to them. And they said, well, why don't you do this? And I went, no, it's not going to work. I'm not going to. Eventually, we came up with a system, which I think is super simple on the surface, which is what you want. But it has the robustness that if you want to create from scratch a spell, you can do it. You can absolutely do it. And of course, spells work in exactly the same way as everything else works in Mage Hunter. You look at the spell, you work out, or you just are told, if you're using a pre-made spell, you are told how many action points it is going to cost you to achieve the effect. You can then choose to spend more action points to change up stuff. You can change the range, the number of targets, the amount of damage. You can do this, you can do that, you can do the next thing. There is so much stuff that you can control and change as simply as just adding one action point. Because of the way that we've structured everything, it's like, well, you want to do that? One action point over and above what's written down. So the magic, I think, is magic. It works really, really, really well. So Hunter Mayer says, can I be a goblin that turns people into goblins? Absolutely, you can. There's just one teensy-weensy little difference about magic in Mage Hunter as opposed to in most other role-playing systems. Magic in Mage Hunter lasts for as long as you put energy into it. The moment you stop putting energy into the spell stops working, and whatever you did reverts back to whatever it was. So if you want to turn everyone into goblins, that's fine for as long as the spell lasts. But when the spell ends, everybody turns back into whatever they were before they were goblins. Now, there are ancient magics included in Mage Hunter which allow you to make these things permanent. They are very rare, very, very complex spells, which they're included in the book. They are something that you would come across maybe once in an entire campaign. There are also artifacts that will do the same thing, but these are even rarer. Another question from AK says, where does the energy for the spells come from? Oneself, the surroundings, ley lines? Well, that's a very good question. And there was a lot of playtesting in the early days where we said, well, magic in an area can run out. It's like, imagine it's the amount of potential, or it's the amount of static in the air. If you use all of that static up, it's going to take time to replenish. So a lot of the early versions had it that there is this permeation of magic throughout everywhere, but it can slowly be drained. We realized that what that did was that created complication for the players and for the GM to keep track of, and didn't really enhance the game or make it fun. So we cut it out. We just didn't need it. And because of that, the system became a lot smoother and it flows a lot better. So you'll have to read the lore as to where it exactly comes from, but let's just say that you are right on almost all accounts. That's all I'm going to say. Right. Okay, so I will just briefly show you. We are ready to launch. That button there is ready for me to smack. We've got 2 minutes left before we do that. And just because there are so many of you watching right now, this is really great. I think it's time for us to do just one more giveaway. We've got time just for one more giveaway. Again, you get to choose whichever PDF of those books you would like, and I will send them to you. But you do have to send me an email, and that's guy@greatgamemaster.com, and do that sooner rather than later. Okay, so with 1 minute to go, there are still some questions coming in. And this one's from Ace Coffee saying, I assume that's only for spells that have an effect over time and not for instantaneous results, like, I don't know, instant killing spell. You are absolutely correct. If a spell deals damage, the damage is dealt immediately. So you might affect 5 people, you might affect 1 person. It doesn't matter, the damage is dealt, because all damage, doesn't matter what type of damage it is dealt in action points. So when you take damage, you lose action points. So your choices of success get less and less every time you take damage. You want to avoid taking damage. You really, really do. Combat, if it lasts for more than 3 rounds, something has gone horribly, horribly wrong, and the party runs the risk of death. Combat is very, very dangerous. So you gotta use your old noggin to get around stuff. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go and launch the button. I'm going to press, I'm ready for launch. It says, right, you have a launch date of 30 days to raise £9,000, okay, which is about, what, 13,000 US dollars. That money is to pay for a whole bunch of things. It's to pay for more art. It's to pay for the layout of the book itself. It's to play for editors and that sort of thing. Those are things that we can't do internally. And you'll see there, funding is all or nothing. If we don't make our target, that's it. The money goes back to you. If we do make our target, 8% or 10% of it goes to Kickstarter. The rest will come to us. And then if we reach our funding goal, we must complete the project and fulfill each reward. Okay, I have read these terms and conditions, and here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. And now we wait with bated breath. I press the button. I swear I pressed the button. Way! We are now live. Okay, we are live. The project is live. And there you can see the page, right? I'm going to take you through the page very, very quickly. So this is the story. There's Mage Hunter, the cover. It is everything that you need to play, okay? There is nothing that you don't get in the book. It is complete to play. I've recorded a whole bunch of videos for you, taking you through each and every single step of the way. And I'll drop the hyperlink in chat very, very quickly. I don't know why I didn't copy that down. So just give me a second. There it is. Control C. I'm going to close that down. Right. I'm going to drop it in chat. There we are, folks. And so, yes. Right. Videos. You can see this beautiful artwork that we've put in. This layout that Martin's come up with. There's the action points in terms of how they work. And it's easy to play. Combat is dangerous, as I said. There's the magic in action. And so if you are in the first 500 to back the project, you will be added to the book. You will be added to the book. So those of you watching, now's the time, right? Now's the time. You can see what's included in the book. We've got spell customization, creating a magic item forging. There's rules on how to make your own magic items and things. Dozens of NPCs and monsters and things. There is My World of Braxia, which we have included in the lore. So a lot of you have been asking for that. So there is bits of lore in there depending on how much of a stretch goal we get. Okay. These are all the different character types, the disciplines that we have included in the book so far. A Druthen, that is sort of a druid-like character. The Elementor, that is someone who works with the 4 basic elements, earth, air, wind, and fire. And then the Erosii, the mind psychics, if you will, or emotional manipulators. They'll charm the crowd. Then you get the untouched, so these are those who are not magical. The Hoplin, who uses pikes and halberds and formations and things to defend themselves. The Ranjin, who uses gunpowder. Very crude forms of gunpowder included at the moment. There's the Sordari, who uses swords and axes. And then the Shaddix, who hides in the shadows and is a little bit of a thief, but they haven't been caught yet, so nothing has been proven. And a very good comment in chat. The book is hardcover. This is a hardcover rule book. It is not like Bounty Hunter, which was a magazine because of the rules of the competition that Bounty Hunter was released under. This is a hardcover book. It will sit on your shelf right next to all your other role-playing games. Character building is super easy. Step 1, step 2, and by the time you get to step 8, you have a full character backstory. Literally, as you choose all of these different steps, you simply get a character backstory where you just fill in a few little names, and boy, does that help you, and it helps everybody else to get there. Now, I already see someone saying, is there a reason why Canada cannot get a physical copy? No, there is no reason why Canada can't get a physical copy. It is just because, for whatever reason, we didn't load it for Canada. I don't know why. Now, we're going to fix that. We will fix that right now. As a matter of fact, I just need to send a little text to my business partner to say, Canada can't order physical. Oh, I need to focus here. Give me a second here. Can't order. You know, we've checked this thing and checked this thing, and check this thing, and you still get these issues, right? Please fix. Anyway, so now that's going to happen. There you go, folks. Live not changing, doing what should be done. So there are. So Canada, you will be able to get physical copies. Unfortunately, there are only so many countries that we can actually ship to before it becomes problematic in terms of like costs and things like that, right? So you don't have to be a Mage Hunter to play Mage Hunter. You can play any kind of role-playing style you want. You don't have to hunt mages, blood mages. They're very dangerous. Okay, so this is a playthrough of me showing you how the game actually works. I had a lot of fun with that. There you can see the stretch goals. Our first stretch goal is to allow you to play as a blood mage. Although why you would want to, I don't know. Because blood mages are hunted, they are persecuted, because they drain the blood out of their victims. They're not vampires. Vampires, there's a certain elegance, I guess, to a vampire. Blood mages wear the bodies, wear the skin, cover themselves in the organs, or add the organs of the dead to themselves. So very nasty people, very, very nasty people. Okay, and there's me explaining the stretch goals. Now you can, of course, add on some of these books that if you want them, that's absolutely fine. There's that marvelous mini from Mammoth Factory, okay, and they will be adding in another 3. We're going to reveal them over the next 4 weeks or so, the extra minis, and you can get them as an STL or, of course, that. Dungeon Fog, our amazing Dungeon Fog partners, they have created a special map pack which we will also be revealing over the next few weeks, just for Mage Hunter, to celebrate Mage Hunter. So if you are a Dungeon Fog user, you can and will get access to those props for free. Dungeon Fog has sponsored them for everybody. And if you're not yet a user of Dungeon Fog, use the code GREATGM. You'll get 20% off all of your subscription options to Dungeon Fog, and you will then get those packs free as well. So that's really cool, I think. Timelines, we are looking for the physical book to go out in about 9 months or so, give or take, if everything is equitable and there are no ships stuck in canals or anything like that. There you can see projected shipping costs. These may come down, these may go up. We have no idea. The world is a complicated place. These are where we ship to: Australia and New Zealand, right? But New Zealand, you chose one of the longest names in the book in terms of your country. So Australia, New Zealand, you should be there, but you are part of that space, and I know, shoot me. So there we go. But yes, definitely. We ship to New Zealand, to Australia, to the USA, to Canada, to Europe, and of course to the UK. And those rates will go up and down, and there we go. The risks that we have, well, we've done this multiple times. We have done multiple Kickstarters for all of our books. The usual risk is paper shortages. Amazon just takes all the paper, and then the printers say, well, we said we were going to print it next month. Now it's in 3 months. Or customs, like they did with our last book. The New York Harbor, the book got there, and then it sat in customs for 3 weeks because the customs officials are like, meh. So there you are. Right, folks, this was the launch of our Kickstarter. I promised you we were going to give away. I mean, we're going to do it. We are going to do it. And now that you have access to the Kickstarter page, that means you have access to all of the secrets, all of the information. And we've got 29 days to go. So we will hopefully make our pledge. Already, I mean, £800 is just insane, especially for this launch time and for a launch on a Monday. So that's just phenomenal. Thank you for your support thus far. I can't wait to see what we get to eventually. And let me just see if there are anything else. Gondelf says, well done. Loved working with you on this. Manglethorpe the Magnificent. Well, yes, absolutely. Manglethorpe, one of the play testers. Lots of fun. Hunter asks, can it be played solo? No, it can't be played solo. There isn't a rule space for it to be played solo. You certainly could randomly generate stuff, but the game is not really designed for solo. One-on-one play, a lot of fun. More fun if there are 2 or more players available. So there you are. Right. Can send one to Royal Library in Thimphu, Bhutan for the English section. I'm not sure where that is. We do send these books to the official royal libraries here in the UK. We have to do that when you release a book and you get an ISBN number. They're like, well, you need to send copies to these various libraries. So they are available there. These books, eventually Mage Hunter will be available. There's our £1,000 mark just been broken. Again, phenomenal. Thank you, guys. We are required to send these books to various libraries and things, and they will eventually be able to be sent to Amazon if you really want to pick them up on Amazon, usually only in the US. But again, it's better to get them here on the Kickstarter. The STLs for the or the miniatures, I should say, that Mammoth Factory have been made, you can only get the physical printed copies on this Kickstarter. Thereafter, they will only be resold as STLs and that sort of thing. So can we send them to halfway between India and China? Unfortunately, not unless you count Australia and New Zealand, which is technically halfway between them, but on the opposite side of the planet. So yeah, there you go. How many players do you think is the acceptable maximum to play with? Generally speaking, I don't know of any role-playing game that handles 7 or more better. You could certainly play with 7 folks here. It just means that you will have to think about how many extra creatures and things you're adding into the combat. The combat won't necessarily slow down too much because you're not referencing and looking up and adding and combining stuff. You literally are going, hey, I have a skill point, I have melee combat, I hit the goblin. Of course, the goblin is also going, hey, well, so do I hit you back. So there is that. There are a whole bunch of suggestions on how to create balance within Mage Hunter as well, so that you can have easy combats, you can have more difficult combats, and the monsters are so simple to scale. It's literally you third the amount of action points, you double the amount of action points. All of the abilities and things stay pretty much the same. So it really is a quick and simple and I think very robust kind of system. Does the Kickstarter require a credit card? Yes, I believe it does. I don't think that they yet accept PayPal. I don't think that that is something that they accept. I think it's credit card only. So you will need a credit card, and you need to make sure that that credit card is going to work on Kickstarter. We have had a few folks in the past who've tried credit cards and the banks have blocked them because Kickstarter is seen as whatever it is. I don't know. So just make sure that that is the case. Okay. So I think I've answered most of the questions that I have seen. Okay. Right. They do take debit cards as well, says Aced Coffee, and seconded by Deru Scar, so thank you very much. So they do take debit cards as well. Basically, if you've got money, they're happy to take it. But it's got to come on a plastic card, so then they can take 4 or 5% from the total that we raise to fund their business and keep their business going. All right, so let's go back here and let's go to this reward. So here is your opportunity to win one of these books, book of your choice. Just remember to email me, guy@greatgamemaster.com. So the question that I have, and this is again, just chuck it out into chat as soon as you possibly can. And it will help if you have the Kickstarter open. It will help. It'll help you, I should say. And the question is, how many disciplines can you play straight off the bat in character creation as of this moment? Before we reach the stretch goal, how many disciplines do you have access to? And I'll give you a hint. It's not one. It's not one. So get those answers in there, if you please. and we will Laura Bones it to see how many there are. I would suggest you just check that Kickstarter page for the answer. How many disciplines can you play, or how many disciplines are available to you at the launch of this Kickstarter? And they're broken into different categories. So I see that there is a 10-minute playthrough on the Kickstarter page. Will there be a longer one, like 1 hour with multiple players? So the 10-minute playthrough is literally just me, myself, and I playing the game. The reason why we did that was because we wanted to show exactly how the game works. So we scripted it in terms of, this is what we need to say. We need to talk about action economy. We need to talk about this. We need to talk about that. We need to talk about near death and the options that are available to characters that way. So we won't do another one like that. Don't worry. If there is sufficient demand for it, if folks really want to see it, then yes, absolutely, we can arrange that and see what we end up with. We have done some, we've done multiple games in playtesting mode. We didn't record those, of course, because a lot of them were like, really, I do think we're overpowered. I think that's really overpowered. Okay, nerfing that, changing that, or, well, that's really underwhelming. Let's change this, or let's change that. Right, so I am looking, and the first person to get the answer correct in chat, the first person to type the correct answer in chat is Gold Saber. I think Gold Saber was the first one who hit the number 7. That is correct at the moment. There are 7 that you can play: a Druthan, an Elementor, an Erosii, a Hoplin, a Ranjan, a Sodari, and a Shaddix. So there are 7 there. So Gold Saber, absolutely. This one's for you. Congratulations on getting there and for dropping it in. And yep, TN Tyson, so close. Literally, you were two posts away. So there you are. So Gold Saber, please remember to send me through that email. Otherwise, I will forget. Well, not forget. I don't know what your email is. So I just wouldn't be able to get hold of you. And there we go. Look at that. I mean, guys, this is just phenomenal. We're on our way. We are on our way. Solid start for all of us. So really appreciate that. And yes. Are there any final questions before I bid you all a very, very happy good night, a very, very excited launch for me anyway? Every time we do a Kickstarter, I'm always amazed at the response people have. I'm always slightly nervous as well because I look at it and I go, this is where it becomes real. This is where we move from having this working document and all of the efforts of the playtesters and the whole team really gets proven or not. So yes. Hunter says, I've been playing a lot of solo games recently. Do you think I will make one? Possibly I'll make one. But you know, this is the problem that you have when you are a content creator is you go, but Mage Hunter, love the rule system, and I will play it. It'll be my go-to fantasy role-playing system moving forward. Not just because we created it, but because I like it. I really, really like it. I think it's going to do everything that I would normally do in D&D. It just does it faster and cleaner and without all of the extra bloat and all that kind of stuff. And I feel it will do anything that can be done in the one, can be done in the other. But I also want to go back to Bounty Hunter and update that sci-fi system as well. Bounty Hunter was very early. It was just me working, trying to get it onto deadline. We had lots of input from some amazing folks. It was such an eye-opener for me. But I want to go back now to Bounty Hunter and say, well, we've got those rules. We created these rules. I want to bring them into Bounty Hunter. So I want to go back and I want to revamp Bounty Hunter. But at the same time, I then also kind of want to continue with Mage Hunter and add in more stuff. And anyway, we'll get there. We definitely will get there. Okay, next up. Another question. How would you describe this to a 5th edition party to encourage them to play something not 5th edition? Firstly, I would say Mage Hunter takes the dice away and replaces it with you being the hero. So it's not complicated. You'll create a character in 10 minutes. If you're a slow reader, 20 minutes. So you can get into it really, really quickly. The players don't have to learn any rules. They don't have to learn a single rule. The GM has to learn one rule. If the players want to do something, tell them the skill that they're going to need to do the task, and then they spend an action point. Or they can choose to spend up to 5 action points if they want to try and do it better than someone else. But it's basically spend an action point with the skill, you succeed. It's as easy as that. So for 5th edition role players, you go, this is something to kick back, relax, and enjoy. Super simple. No rules. Don't worry about it. Don't read the rule book. You don't need to read the rule book. Just create your character, follow the steps, and as usual with all of our books, the character creation and the character sheets will be available online for you to download and use and that sort of thing. Fill in the blanks, start playing. No rules required in terms of learning and all that kind of stuff. So the barrier to entry is almost zero. So it is about being able to just grab people to say, hey, why don't you bring your significant other over? I know they don't normally role play, but let them come in and have some fun. Right, hopefully that will help. Let's see. Welcome, Luke Andrew. Don't worry if you've just joined us. That's great. We are celebrating the launch of the Mage Hunter diceless TTRPG Kickstarter, which has now, well, it's launched very successfully. We're at 59 backers and nearly at £2,000 already raised. My math is terrible. That's one of the reasons why I wrote this rule system, is that I don't have to do heavy math. But I feel like we're already halfway there. It feels like we're halfway there. No, we're not. We're getting there. Let's see. Any other questions? Any plans for any supplements for Mage Hunter, or is it all in one book? So Mage Hunter is written. It's got all of the contents that you will need to play it. Could there be supplements in the future? There very well could be. People might say, well, we want more lore. We want an actual setting book. We want more stuff. There could be something like a monsters compendium if necessary. But again, all of the stuff you need is already in the book. So there is some scope for that. It's not planned out. It's not as if we've got this grand scheme of things. It depends on you guys, really, because ultimately you're driving this stuff. And I'm pretty certain that once, oh, there we go, £2,000 broken. That's phenomenal. 65 backers. That's insane already. Really, really enjoying this launch, I have to say. So we poll and we do these questions all the time. So join our discord.gg/greatgm or continue watching on this YouTube channel. We do community posts where we say, hey guys, so what should we do next? And then you can vote for it. Okay. Revamp sounds awesome, says Landon. Absolutely. Landon, lovely to see you in chat. I hope things are going well for you. Another question from AK. Is the character creation going to be as story-driven as in Bounty Hunter? Because I love that part of Bounty Hunter especially. Yes, absolutely. So when you are doing character creation in Mage Hunter as in Bounty Hunter, and I'm just going to go down there so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. When you are creating your character, you choose the species. Then you choose your place of birth, and in that you are given 10 different little short paragraphs that you can select from. And as you select a paragraph, that gives you the skills that come with that paragraph. So if you choose the traditional story of you were born on the streets as an orphan, well, you might get the skill pickpocket and survival, because those two make sense for someone who's born as an orphan. But then you'll get a little story. So in this case, the example is someone who was born in royalty, in riches. I was born into a life of luxury, indescribable and unimaginable to most. My mother, and then there are these sections for you to add in names. So in this case, the Highmark Githis rules Tenaria province. So you are prompted to add in names, places, locations, and you just build up this story as you are creating your character. You get your skills and you get this backstory, and you end up with a whole bunch of important information. It's not necessarily important for you as the player, but for the GM, this is a gold mine to be able to go, okay, cool, so Highmark Githis is dead. Well, in the next adventure, perhaps someone is trying to bring Highmark Githis back from the dead. Or perhaps the next adventure, Highmark Githis is seen wandering around town. What the hell? And so the player characters will want to go and investigate, assumedly, and a whole adventure has come out of one player character's one little paragraph background. So it is all focused around creating story collectively together. And if you can do it whilst you're doing character creation, well, even better. Luke Andrews says, question. So, yes. Which celebrity would you want to play Mage Hunter with? Says Solor. Which celebrity? Well, I would have to say I think it would be a lot of fun to play Mage Hunter with perhaps Sir Ian McKellen, who played Gandalf. I think they could be a lot of fun to play Mage Hunter with. I would also say Elijah Wood, not because he was also in Lord of the Rings, but he just strikes me as being this fun kind of cool guy. Otherwise, Patrick Stewart, but that's because his book's just come out. I love Captain Picard. I love Patrick Stewart as an actor. So there we go. That's what I would do. Luke Andrews says, how do you produce so much good content? This is just a compliment in the form of a question. Well, thank you, Luke. You trapped me into reading that one out aloud. I really appreciate that. I love what I do. And your support on these kind of Kickstarters, your support on Patreon, just by watching these videos, hitting the like button, sharing them, well, that's how I can create content. You guys inspire me. You really do. What is the license this operates with? Can players create content for this system? Says Fuzzy. At the moment, the system is super simple. Again, if you want to create Mage Hunter content and release it out there, you have to send us an email and then we have a discussion. We're very open to working with creators and with collaborators and things like that. And if you create some really cool stuff, well, we have a web store where we sell all of our books, and we certainly are happy to discuss and chat and see where we can go. Right, so there you are. Pip the Goblin was born into a life of luxury. I'm really looking forward to Hunter playing this Goblin. And what an interesting character. The Goblin was born into a life of luxury, so does that mean that the Goblins have this palatial camp? And perhaps that's where Pip's from. Anyway, you can already see it in action. Folks, I'm not going to keep you any longer. This has been an amazing, amazing experience. Thank you all for your phenomenal support once again. I mean, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. 72 backers, well on our way now to achieving that goal. And it's just really phenomenal. So a massive thank you from myself and from my business partner, the Web Goblin, who hopefully will have added in Canada as a shipping option now. Fixed. This has been fixed, says the Web Goblin. So Canada, go ahead and order your books, please. So great for that. Landon starting to drop stats already. And Laura Bones asking a very important question. Will there be Star Trek tomorrow? That is me playing Star Trek Adventures. The answer is an emphatic yes. It is time for us to get going. The USS Plato will leave dock and start our first adventure tomorrow evening. That's at 8 p.m. BST, which is noon Pacific time. And I look forward to having you all there. And of course, for further updates and things on Mage Hunter. Lots of fun things ahead. I want to just take this opportunity, thank you all once again, and to wish you, well, just the happiest of gaming. Until we meet again, which will hopefully be tomorrow evening, goodbye.